Hello everyone, Robbie Allen, Credit Restoration of Texas. We are on tip 3 of the 10 ways to maximize your credit score fast. These are truly insider secrets that can really help you with your credit and just change it within a short amount of time. But before we jump into tip number 3, we're going to touch base on things that do affect your credit. So the first one was 35% of your score is affected by negative items, and 30% of your score has to do with revolving debt ratio. So we're going to talk a little bit about that because a lot of folks there's a lot of misinformation and misconceptions about how revolving debt ratios work. But in a nutshell, if you have a credit limit, let's say you have a credit limit, you have one credit card, just keep it real simple, it's $1,000, and you're maxed out, you're at the top there. Well, you're using 100% of your available credit. So that's going to really hurt your score. When somebody asks me, well, where should I keep my limits at? Once you start going above 50%, you're going to start seeing negative things happen. But I'm going to talk about the ideal number, the optimal number to keep your balances at here in just a minute. But before we go through that, you can share your debt among many cards. FICO doesn't look at just one card. If you have multiple cards, it's looking at all the cards. So let's say, for example, if you have a one credit card that has a $5,000 limit, and it's completely, you have a zero balance on it, so you have $5,000 available credit. But then you've got a couple of other cards, that are at 50%. Well, that big one is going to offset the other one. So it looks at the whole thing. Another thing is that make sure that the limit is reported. Sometimes if you're looking at the credit report, your limit may say your limit's $700, but you're like, hey, my limit's $1,500. Call your credit card company, make sure that they're reporting it. Some of these credit card companies, they just don't report high limits, and they say it's to protect the consumer. I don't know. I think it's really affecting people's credit is what it's doing. But there's some of them out there that don't, some of the big ones. If you have credit cards with good limits on it, don't close them unless they're hitting you with annual fees and monthly fees and stuff. Don't close them because that helps offset other cards. This says pay off before closing date. If you're going to be closing on a home or anything, you want to make sure to get those down beforehand. Then there's two things here. Keep credit separate from spouse and then transfer debt to one spouse. It works two ways. So let's say you were going to go in for a loan, but your cards are maxed out. Well, maybe you can transfer some of that debt to your spouse, and so now your revolving debt ratio looks better, and vice versa. So there's more than one way to skin a cat when it comes on that. So tip number 4. I always get this question. Well, I don't have the money to pay down my cards. What do I do? Well, there's a couple ways to do that. One, you can call your own credit card company and ask for a limit increase. That's an easy way. I mean, if they raise up your limit, and all of a sudden your balances or your debt ratio looks better. Or you can get a new card. And we have, I'm going to go into a video here in a little bit where we have places that will give you a $5,000 unsecured revolving line of credit, and that will definitely help offset all of your other cards, okay? And it's 99% guaranteed that you're going to get approved for it. But those are that's two ways you can do it. And we actually got another tip coming up. And this is the tip I was telling you, magic tip, magic. Optimal percentage to keep ratio at. 19%. This information was given to me by one of the leading credit repair attorneys out of Los Angeles, California, that actually showed me, how to do credit restoration and how he did it in his law firm. And he said that based on his research, that 19% was the optimal number. Okay, so if you got a credit card with a $100 limit, you want to keep it around $190. I don't mean keep it at $190 forever and ever. I mean, if you want to use your credit card, charge it up, charge it down, pay it off, whatever. But right before you go in to get that car, right before you go in to get a refinance or to purchase a home, I say right before, about 30 days. Go ahead and start working on paying down your balances so that your creditors can update, and within 30 days, it's updated properly, and now you're sitting at that magic number of 19%. Now, if it's up or down, 20%, 21, 22, 15, that's all right. But you don't want it at 0, and you definitely don't want it above 25%. Another great thing, and I use this in my business all the time, if you're a business owner, is business credit, okay? I don't know why businesses just don't, or business owners, I guess most entrepreneurs, or business owners, they just don't understand business credit very well and how they use it. They just use it, they put everything on their own name, their own credit cards, and so they look like they're maxed out all the time. They look like they're paying out all this money. They're like, well, my business pays for it. The loan officers don't even want to see that stuff. But with business credit, like I have lots of business credit. It's attached to my EIN, to my tax ID number. It's not attached to my social. I may be a guarantor for it. If it goes bad, yeah, then it's going to appear on my stuff. But as long as you're making your payments on time, it's never going to appear on your personal credit. And if anybody wants more information on that, that's a topic for a different day. But we help businesses build a business credit. It works fantastic. You can build a ton of business credit in a very short amount of time. So thank you very much for joining us for tips 4 and 5. We're going to be jumping into tip 6. Give us a call, creditrestorationoftexas.com. We want to be a resource to all consumers out there with everything credit. Y'all have a great day.